welcome back to CVM at Sunrise. Now, of course, we have been focusing on Jamaica and its agricultural future. So today, or for this segment, we have in studio the team from the 4-H Club, and they're here to answer the question, is there a bright future for the youths in agriculture? We have Dr. Blake, the Executive Director of the Jamaica 4-H Clubs, and he has brought with him Karel McCormack, who is a PR manager at the 4-H Club. And of course, Karel will introduce a young student that's with her as well.
Okay, so good morning, Jamaica. With me, I have Terry Ann Wilson from the Jonathan Grant High School 4-H Clubs.
Morning, Miss Wilson.
Good morning.
All right, I'm actually going to change things up a bit, and I'm going to start with you. Why did you join the 4-H Club?
Well, I joined the 4-H Club because I was interested in agriculture and farming, and I just love doing things on my own, so buying and stuff. I like going to the market, but I love making my own things, so farming was for me. And I also do home economics, so both of them were in 4-H, so I went there for farming and for home economics.
All right. Now, Doc, when you hear an ambassador like that speak about what motivated her to join the 4-H Club, the next question is, what's the mandate of the 4-H Club, and is it achieving its mandate?
You know, the 4-H clubs has a mandate to stimulate young people to see agriculture as a viable career option. And I think we have been doing that to a great extent. There are 105 2,091 registered members in the 4-H clubs. And when you disaggregate that membership, just over 31,000 of those young persons are in fact pursuing a track on agriculture in the 4-H clubs. So certainly we are achieving our mandate. And when you think about where the average age of the Jamaican farmer is today, 48.7 years, not 60 as people would say sometimes. And it's because the 4-H club continues to actually allow for thousands of young people every year entering the agricultural sector. If you look at the statistics, in fact, in 2014, 24% of the farmers in the ABIS database actually comes from the youth cohort. In 2015, that moved to 32%. Right. And in 2016, we have jumped to 35%. It therefore means that there is an increase in the youth participation in the agricultural sector. And what is also very obvious from what we have been doing is the fact that the young farmer are more educated. In fact, 77% of the youth farmer, we're talking about farmers under age 34, are actually have secondary education. What is a worrying trend, though, Raymond, is that we are only seeing about 4% of our youth farmers having tertiary education. But with a 40% increase in the number of students at CASE pursuing agriculture this year, and I think we need to commend the work of Dr. Deslandes because he's doing a great job. I am looking to see over the next 3 years that we can move that 4% to anywhere about 6% in the next 3 years. That will certainly hold great significance for the sector because a more educated farmer is going to allow for higher levels of productivity. And with the reduced farm size, you're going to have to get young people who are more educated and who are able to farm in a way that will create better use of the limited land space. 10 years ago, the average size farm was 2.2 hectares. Presently, we're talking about 1.4. That's a significant decline in farm size.
No, with the decline in farm size, I'm going to take you back to a question we discussed with former Senator Norman Grant, that we are seeing across the world where instead of spreading vertically or laterally across hectares, they're going vertically. Now, are there processes in train through the 4-H Club and elsewhere across the sector to attune the minds of young farmers, such as Ms. Wilson, to be thinking through that level of innovation?
Very good question, and I think that's where the relevance of forage is today more than ever, because the young farmer has to become a more we'll have to become a thinking farmer. We're doing higher levels of production in less space, and so the whole concept of protected agriculture, where you're doing greenhouse farming, where you are doing intensive systems, broiler systems, where you are doing hydroponics and so on. As you're right, we're not going that way. We are going vertical, and so you're making greater use of the space. And the truth is, young people are more predisposed to take up these new and innovative ways in agriculture. Well, and that is why it's important to get the young people involved. On
that note, let me pitch this question to Carol in terms of your role as PR manager. When I was active in the Forage Club, probably at your age or younger, Miss Wilson, we did not have social media. We did barely have access to Telegram and those other features. There was no email. What are the strategies that you are using to continue this rich recruitment of young people in agriculture?
Well, you just hit the nail on the head in terms of social media, because that's one of the mediums that attracts young people the most.
Yes.
So Forage has, we have also stepped up into the realm of social media in terms of our Facebook pages, on Twitter, Instagram. We have our Clover TV channel. So,
sorry, what?
yes, we are on YouTube, and we have our
YouTube channel.
Yes,
and explain to the viewers why it would be called Clover.
All right, well, Clover is the symbol of the forage, not only just the Jamaica Forage Clubs, but the forage internationally. So clearly, we would use a symbol that readily identifies us. And just to talk a little bit more about that channel has a lot of our online training modules on it in terms of our training sessions. So, for example, how to bud apiculture, poultry, in home economics, etc.
Wonderful.
So, as you just said, we have to, in terms of what I do and from where I sit and the team that I have around me, we have to look at what readily attracts youth. So, we use the social media. We use the WhatsApp groups. I mean, traditional media also has its place, but based on the changing media landscape, traditional media can only go so far, right? We are a visual society.
Yes, we are.
Once we see something on a TV,
visual
a screen, whether it's a screen on your phone, whatever, we go there. So we have to continue our thrust in that direction. Of course, not leaving out the traditional media, because we still, of course, have to teach the youngsters to read, because reading is very important, because that is how they're getting their information. And, of course, through our various stakeholders. Most of our stakeholders are also agencies in the youth sector. So we're talking about NYS, HART, Dr. Blake, sorry, just mentioned Case. Yes, Case, right? Ebony Park, Calva, all those other institutions. They are our major stakeholders as well.
Hold on a second, Carol. You just committed one of the unforgivables. You've gone to Nakalva. You're in Kingston and you're heading west. You stop at Ebony and you skip and go to Nakalva. No, man, reverse.
Okay,
reverse and fix that up.
Let me reverse. Sydney Pagan. Yes, I stopped there.
All right.
And then I'm going to move on again.
You can. We will let you out of St. Elizabeth right now.
But seriously though, we also engage a lot of our youth agencies, institutions, etc. And it is a network. And what you will find too is that in those institutions, the grouping of Forage is massive, and it continues to grow, because we at Forage, we continue to develop the strategies that will continue to influence the young persons.
Right.
We mentioned the membership number, and of course, naturally, that number would have increased. Right? And it continues to grow, because more and more we find that Forage attracts more young people. We also find twinning. So, for example, you will have a Forage club, but you will hear that they do a project in tandem with the science club or the environment club. Right?
Well, the environment club is important, which is also one of the areas of that the Forage Club covers. But I'm going to ask you, Doc, we have Miss Wilson here, very young, very vibrant, and I have a couple of questions for her before we close the segment. But is she wasting her time with her excitement about growing her own things, making her own recipes, and being that involved in agriculture? Or can you help us to understand why she is pursuing a lucrative career path?
You know, I I'm always saying to young people that agriculture is one of the most lucrative sectors in this country. If you look at the multiplier effect, when you invest $1 in agriculture, you're getting a return of about $1.90. The sector that people talk about most is probably best performing at about 99 cents in the dollar. That may sound a little upper in terms of economics, but what it is saying is that it's a viable practice. I've often said that if you're rearing 1,000 broiler birds, you get the income you get per annum is better than most job you'll get after university. If you're growing 2 acres of ginger, the returns from that is better than any job you will get after university. If you are, and there are many other high margin, pepper, Irish potato that RADA is pushing. And so, you know, what we have found, Raymond, is that a lot of our young people are now transitioning into agriculture. The barrier is low. And so after school, it's, you know, what it requires to get in. And with the support systems from RADA, the Ministry of Agriculture, and what we are doing on our entrepreneurial program, where we bring them in, and a model that we develop with the Mona School of Business and Heart and ourselves, we take them through the rudiments of enterprise management, and then we give them the venture inputs to start their own business. And we have been employing thousands of young people who are transitioning into the farming sector, because what we're helping to develop, and I've had the conversation with Case, that we're going to have to get a lot more of our young people to move into farming, not the agricultural sector as agriculturalists and extension officer, as farmers. And I'm saying that every time the economy of Jamaica grows, there's significant growth in the agricultural sector.
All right, so Ms. Wilson, putting you back on the spot, which you deal with so easily. What do your fellow students at Jonathan Grant High say about you when they hear that you are this excited about farming?
Well, most of Jonathan Grant is excited about farming because...
And that, for those who don't know, that's Jonathan Grant in Spanish Town.
Yes, Jonathan Grant.
Excited about farming.
Yes, you're all excited about farming.
Everyone of you know.
Not everybody, but most of Jonathan Grant, because 4-H Club in Jonathan Grant is the largest club at my school right now.
Whoa.
So we have the most members as a club in my school, and everyone is trained in most areas to do different competitions and stuff like that, but not everyone does the competition. So we know a little bit of everything. So even though we don't do the competition, when we have parish achievements, we are able to do it on our own. Like if we want to grow our own bees or grow food, or if we want to have a poultry house, we know how to do it because we're trained within our school how to do different things.
Yeah.
So a lot of persons are excited about agriculture because they want to do things ourselves, and we're taught in 4-H Club how to do it.
No, you have mentioned the parish achievement and national achievement. Have you competed in any of these?
Yes, I have. I've been a member of 4-H for 7 years now, so I have competed in many different competitions.
And have you won any titles?
Yes, I have.
You can tell us about a few of those.
Well, my first competition was poultry care and management, where I came second at the parish level, but the year after that I did cake baking and decorating. I came first at the parish level and third at the national level, and then I did meal preparation, where I came third at the parish level, so I didn't move on. But we are trained to do different things, so we do everything at 4-H.
Yes. Now, how do you feel, Madam PR Manager, when you see an ambassador such as Ms. Wilson?
Well, let me tell you something. Club heads such as Ms. Wilson always give me a great joy, right? Because where necessary, you also assist them in terms of their training. And it gives a good feeling when they come to you and they say, Miss, I did it, you know, and you assisted me and so forth. And they're excited about what their next steps are. And as she mentioned, the Achievement Expos, this is the right outlet for them to show off their skills. And we always try to tell them that, yes, primarily it's a competition, but it is not just a competition. It is the skills that you are regurgitating and you're showing off to persons. And of course, at the end of the day, you have received a lifelong skill. So irrespective of what career path you choose, naturally we want them to choose agriculture. But even if they don't, They have that skill, and it is a skill that can also lead them to become entrepreneurs, which is another thing that the 4-H pushes.
Yes.
All about entrepreneurship, all about creating your own businesses, and of course, employing others. And employment is what the country really needs right now.
So you're going to stay in agriculture?
Yes, I'm planning to stay in agriculture.
What aspect of it? You mentioned poultry management, but what other aspects are interesting
I want
you?
to do agriculture, and
Big word for raising bees. Yeah.
Well, I'm planning to be an entrepreneur now, so I'm looking into starting my own bee farm. So I'm trying to raise funds to start my bee farm because there are a lot of economic problems in Jamaica. So if we start our own business from now, we are able to fund ourselves throughout colleges and to start something for ourselves, so we are ready for the world when we leave our parents' house or when we get out there. So that's why I want to start my own business. And 4-H was getting my training at my 4-H club at my school. I was able to get all the knowledge. Even though I didn't do a competition, I was trained in that area.
All right, those are excellent words on which to close this segment. Thank you so much. You've been a very good ambassador, not just for the 4-H Club, but for your family as well. And of course, Jonathan Grant High School has never looked better than you have made it look this morning. And my peeps in Spanish don't bother run out on me about that. It was a compliment. More when we come back after the news. This is CVM at Sunrise.
Speed up, not a party.